So he is still a firm believer, but we have Bodhi on a Mitsurugi deck. And let me tell you something.
Oh, baby, tell me.
Rather special version. Last week, if you have paid close attention, there was Strasse. Oh, and actually, yeah, Bodhi is starting the game here with Aramasa. There was a little switcheroo there, but Aramasa is already a decent start. So this is a Mitsurugi deck with a little splash of the Ogdoadic strategy.
It is. And there we go. Now it is fixed. It is indeed Bodhi on the Mitsurugi deck and Raul is on Malice. And actually Malice has taken a little bit of a development over the last couple of weeks because, and we're both still kind of curious about it, right? Because they, at the moment, are just cutting one of their traps from the main deck, which is GWC.
Yeah, I don't see it. I'm behind. I can't.
You are behind. Okay,
I'm super behind on this because I don't see how this is the superior version of the deck. But this is Prayers here. Oh, this is so good. Aramasa add Habakiri. Habakiri reveal, summon Saji, tribute Saji, Saji search, prayers, discard Habakiri. This deck is so incredibly good. The value that you get is so crazy. You don't get to summon the Habakiri back, but you still get 2 searches off, and you could summon back the Saji from the graveyard if you want.
Oh, okay, but there's a Bestial Sarony, and that's honestly quite an early Saronier, deciding to go after the Habakiri. And honestly, I feel like, don't you just want to try to go after usually rather the Amine Murakomo?
Yeah, and also this Habakiri doesn't special summon itself back.
Yeah, that's the thing.
So I think he might think that because it is sent to the graveyard for tribute, it doesn't trigger anymore, but it should, right? It should definitely trigger because it just needs to get tributed, or is it tribute and sent to the graveyard? Wait.
No, but this is a classic case. For example, Banten worked the same way. When you're not in the spot where you would activate,
oh, really?
It is moved, when it's moving into a different place, it can't activate in that place anymore, you know? That is, for example, when you did the Drytrons. Drytrons tributes a Banten, and then you chain a Bestial on the Banten. It is not there where it would activate anymore, and I think that's the same scenario here.
I thought it was only because of the Burning Abyss cards, right? When the cards need to trigger in the graveyard, they are only going to trigger in the graveyard.
No.
But, oh, this makes some cards so much better against the Mitsurugi variant.
Glad we could already teach you something in round 1 here, and now Bodhi is revealing that this is not any kind of Mitsurugi strategy, but we are running a very small, a very slim package of the Ogdoadic cards.
That's a naughty Noya, and Noya is really strong start. You can discard it to send, most of the time, Cursor from the deck. The Ogdoadic, I actually know the full part of the name, I just know the German one, the Ogdoadic Überreste. And Cursor is going to be able to tribute the King of the Feral Imps, special summon itself back, summon out the Noya back from the graveyard, and then you're going to get either an Ogdoadic Lily or the Daybreak, and Daybreak is an insane card.
It is.
That's just going to tribute Cursor and summon 4 Ogdoadic tokens.
Indeed it would, but let's see whether we get to that point. We do have the chance now to tribute the King of the Feral Imps. Of course, also a Reptile. For Cursor, that doesn't even matter because you have to just tribute any kind of monster. But in this deck, all of the monsters are basically reptiles. So.
That is so cool. Reptiles finally getting some love.
For sure, yes.
Even though they're cold-blooded, they don't even care about love, but they're just
I'm sure they do. I'm sure they do.
Dominating the game right now.
So Cursor brings back Noya. And now we search for Ogdoadic Daybreak. You have already mentioned that this card is hilariously strong, and it lets you just tribute 1 reptile monster, and for every 2 levels that you tributed, and you see Cursor, just by looking at the screen, there is a lot of levels to work with, you are getting tokens, Ogdoadic tokens to be precise, up to the amount of levels X2. So I think we can just get 4 tokens here, right?
Yeah, the big, Dominus Impulse here is huge.
That's huge,
that's really, really big.
That's a 2-for-1 trade, actually.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, we're setting a card.
Oh, that's so good. Dominus Impulse is one of the format-defining cards. Malice is one of the best decks in the format. I've talked to people running the Mitsurugi cards saying, I don't want to run Fiendsmith cards because I rather want to run Dominus Impulse. Yeah. And here you see why it makes sense to run that card because it's so incredibly powerful.
Now there's going to be a Chessy Cat start here, so that's already threatening. But he knows, hey, this is bad news, because if I have only like 1 soft interaction like an Impermanence, I can Impermanence the Chessy Cat, but then what? Because then it's very likely, yeah, you're going to do this now, but I'll tell you, Dormouse normal summon.
There is going to be another Malice card that's guaranteed. I mean, best case scenario for Bodhi, there's another Malice and Underground in hand, but that is a tough one to assume, and you were right. Dormouse is being normal summoned.
Absolutely huge card here, and this is most of the time, if you're in this situation, it's going to be really, really tough to come back because you have already 3 monsters on the field. Raul is going to be able to set up the MTP already, the 07, or is it 05?
Thinking about MTP?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's 07.
It should be 07, right?
I mean, it just makes sense, right?
I don't think there is an 05, right?
It is 07 for sure.
GWC is 06.
07 is being set, MTP, and we now have all 3. I mean, before Alliance Insight, all 3 main deck monsters of the Malice deck, but Marcher now with Alliance Insight, of course, joining the party and the family, and still missing, but I'm sure we're also going to get to that. And Bodhi sitting there, only sitting on his Noya, and Noya alone is not a big defense at all and whatsoever.
Yeah, but he can still, like, don't need to panic because this is the game that Malice really wants to win and kind of needs to win as well.
Yes.
Because, winning game 1 is mandatory with Malice. Because after that, there's so many cards that are coming in from the side deck, like Lancea,
Chaos Hunter, Meows, and
everything.
so on and so forth. But it looks like, okay, for a second it looked like we are heading into the battle phase, but no, we are just collecting monsters to go into a Link Free. And that Link Free is, of course, going to be a Malice Link monster. And in that case, that's going to be Red Ransom. Oh, we're triggering Siren here as well, meaning there is maybe like a big Bestial package in this still, which is interesting to see because with the release of Marcher, actually people have been shying away from Bestials because you have Marcher just to banish all of your stuff. But no, Raul still running a decent amount of the Bestials in here.
I mean, we could have started discussing this when we actually saw the Siren here because this is by far in decks that are not heavily relying on branded cards or on the Bestial strategy, by far the weakest one. But that's a big package.
He's running triple Baldrake, man. And I mean, therefore, he's sending one of those to the graveyard.
But I mean, we've just seen how good this is versus the Mitsurugi deck. However, Bodhi did also not play around this, right? He couldn't. He started Aramasa.
Yeah.
But I think there is some kind of decent ways to play around this, at least. Even though I like it later on, you just do this on the Murakumo, and then it's already going to be trouble.
MTP activated and also resolving. Bodhi in his 50 card deck did not, for now at least, find any ways to interact with Raul here.
Yeah, and Raul is just having a good time right here, and Bodhi's actively taking notes because I've just looked at his side deck, and he got the memo that Malice is not good anymore and really started to not heavily side deck against it anymore. So I see Lancea because that card is just incredibly strong versus it, and there's applications versus other decks as well. But Chaos Hunter, Meows, don't see it.
And then additionally to that, he's running a 50 card deck, meaning those Lanceas, they're not going to be as often in his starting hand as they are for other players or for other decks that are just running a lower deck count, a lower deck total, but Raul or Bodhi felt confident in this. He's like, I'm going to combo every day, and then it hurts even more when you immediately, on your first attempt in the entire tournament, do not get to combo because you lose to that impulse on the Daybreak.
That is true. I mean, I'm curious if we would have gotten through this if we didn't try to force the Ogdoadic line as well, because maybe the King of the Feral Imps is a little bit of a choke point there. I mean, the King of the Feral Imps resolved, right? But impulse on Daybreak is so big.
There we have the Cyber's Wicked now. Cyber's Wicked is a new addition to the Malice strategy. Doesn't really make sense because it was a Cyber's deck all along, but of course what was missing was a Cyber's tuner that we want to search out here, and that is now the case with Alliance Insight, and that is why Cyber's Wicked found its way into a lot of Malice players' extra decks.
Yeah, backup at Ignister is going to be able to special summon itself out. If you have a Cyber's Link monster, search for a dark Cyber's monster and then discard a card. Absolutely huge. Most of the time, searches for the Wizard at Ignister. That is also going to extend your field, which helps you to play through cards like Lancea for at least a little bit. I mean, if you are going to be able to put up that field that the deck wants to put up now, apparently, which is set up an MTP and the Topologic Bomber Drake and have the March Hare in hand, then you're actually kind of fine by just having the Wizard-Adic Nista resolving, build the Bomber Dragon, and then chill. Like, you don't need to banish everything 5 times.
Link 4, is that the Wizard Dragon you're talking about, or is this maybe access code Talker? Rather, of course it is, as we're trying to seal this game here, banishing the White Binder, immediately destroying the Noya, and now, of course, paying life points to bring the White Binder back. But I think Bodhi is ready to do something about this.
Yeah, I'm gonna be very honest with you. I forgot we had a battle phase on the side of Raul, even though there was the Noya on the field.
But Ash for the White Binder, there it is.
Oh, that's big, actually.
Is it that big, though? I mean, we have nothing else to destroy, so we can't even get Red Ransom out of the graveyard anymore.
We haven't used much, yeah, no? Oh, of course, there's the backup at Ignista. So I think we're gonna get some damage on the field regardless.
There's a lot of monsters here, theoretically, as we are able to search the Wizard Ignister at Ignister, as you explained earlier on very nicely.
Also, we also took 800 damage or paid 800 damage for Mitsurugi Prayers.
Yep.
And that can prove costly in the end. Discard the White Rabbit.
And now, I mean, how big are those backup Ignister? Backup Ignister is 1,200. That's not super bad either. And there is the White Rabbit now coming back alongside the Wizard at the Ignister.
I was gonna say, did we just special summon Dominus Impulse? That's this card even more broken than I thought it was.
Playing free, Leo.
Sounds like a Crypta. Is a Crypta 3 monsters away, and this is a lot of damage. So Bodhi picks it up, and Raul...
Back in we go, and Bodhi is already getting a little bit of a head start. He immediately already normal summoned the Sargi, but we didn't really miss anything as we are in the process now of resolving that, searching out the Mitsurugi Prayers.
Yep, and let's see. This is a point where you could argue for a draw and a Lockbird.
Oh, and there it is. You jinxed it. It was there. Any answer from Bodhi's side? So
you
the
could
question
chain
is,
Prayers.
You
don't have to.
It is a quick spell, so you would technically be allowed to do that. Leo, as a Mitsurugi expert now, is Draw and Lockbird even tougher for the Ogdoadic version of Mitsurugi, or does the Ogdoadic part of the deck make it nicer to play through that
So if you're starting with Snake Rain,
yes,
which Bodhi, by the way, is not even playing,
yes,
then you're basically fine, because your first search is going to be the Noya effect on the field to search for Daybreak. And then you get like 4 of those tokens immediately. You can build up a field already. But if you're not playing Snake Rain, I mean, you're sending discarding Noya, you're sending Cursor. Cursor is gonna come back then, it's gonna summon out Noya again, but it's not gonna search anything. So it's not really that great. I think that Bodhi have seen Lancea in his hand, which is of course going to be incredibly strong
for sure.
versus the Malice strategy. However, Malice, I mean, we're gonna put it to the test now, right? We're gonna see if the deck plays through a Lancea into a non-field right now, because we can summon back the Noya now. That's all nice. We can't summon back the Noya. Raul is giving Bodhi a really tough time here.
The Jury's Worm now as well. Raul with all those Bestials. And honestly, you said you really like it. And I start to believe that that's really actually a call. Because last weekend, the people were definitely underprepared for all the Mitsurugi decks. And that's why they were so successful as well. And maybe Raul, because of that, has now decided, hey, Bestial's actually good enough versus this.
And if everyone starts playing Bestials now, you know which deck gets kind of free. It's
Tell
Malice.
me about it.
That's actually insane. You made the... What are your meta calls in this format right now, Basti?
It is tough to say, honestly. Malice, I think Malice will have a good weekend, honestly. I like it.
Or maybe Malice finally gets some W's in here as well. Cursor lying on the field. I think there is a Prayers set, but Prayers doesn't do anything on its own. Yes.
You know what's interesting? I think... Couldn't we have just summoned back the Droll and Lockbird there as well? Because Cursor allows you to summon back... allows the opponent to summon back a monster too.
Yep.
But looks like we didn't want the Droll and Lockbird. Oh, we must be in the turn of Raul now. Set one more card for Bodhi, and then the standby phase Artifact Lancea. The most powerful tool against the Malice strategy is being activated. Oh, and we just had into the battle phase. Oh, Mirror Force incoming. Oh, what's coming here?
I think that's the prayer set that we
Yes.
searched already. Retribute. Yeah, that's of course very, very strong here. Retributing the Cursor, so we can not
is there an
only get
answer
a
to that
search.
though? That would be a tough card to Ash here.
That is true, actually. Yeah.
Oh, and Raul's thinking about it. Oh,
That gets ashed. almost over for Bodhi.
Yeah, then the follow-up is almost non-existing, but it looks like Raul is thinking about it.
But I agree with the play, because you have to play to win here at this point, because you're already so far behind with this one turn. But I mean, you could Dominus Impulse this as well, right?
Yeah, of course you can. Raul just got to make the decision whether he wants to commit into that here, but both cards just feel like a no-brainer, right?
Yeah,
I agree with you, and there is something... There is Dominus Impulse, and I'm wondering why that took so long, because that feels like he would always do it, and now the Druid Swarm attacks for 2,500 attack points.
Maybe he has a Nibiru in hand, which I kind of doubt when looking at the deck list. But
it could also be, yeah, there's Nibiru in the side deck, possibly.
I mean, this Prayers would have given Bodhi just basically infinite cards.
You got to interact with it. I think you can't debate about it, and I think that's the turn. Raul will pass it over.
Now let's see. Bodhi has another Lancea, so next turn he might actually still have some time there. And he's going to activate pre-preparation of rights, and that is huge. But, oh yeah, true. You can of course search Habakiri, and now the... Oh, you can't search the ritual.
Yeah, and Raul is also thinking about that.
That does not work.
Yep, that is what Raul is also explaining him to here. We have the card here in the card highlight tool. Also, I hope everyone at home likes it. We have the card highlight tool going for this weekend. Very, very cool to see. So when we don't know about the effects of some certain cards, we can just read them up on the screen.
Yep, and now, okay, we're getting the judge to confirm this. So what pre-preparation is so special for is that it says you can search for a ritual monster and a ritual spell that lists the name of the ritual monster. And Mitsurugi Ritual doesn't do that. It just summons out a Reptile Ritual, which makes the card basically even better. Yeah. But you now have the Mitsurugi Mirror in the deck. And this is why pre-preparation of rights has become a very special and a very popular starter now, because you basically get to search the Habakiri plus an extra card for free. And Habakiri itself is a powerful starter. So even though Bodhi might be very surprised,
see what that one has to offer instead. And wait, we passed Leo. I think what I just told you was absolutely right. I think he might have the Mitsurugi Mirror in hand, because we had to pass over. Another Lancea was dropped, and we just go ahead, attack again with the Druid Swarm. So Bodhi goes down to a total of 3,000 life points.
But I think the card in his hand is Mitsurugi Ritual. Does he not play the Mirror? He does.
He does, he does. But maybe he sided it out. There's a chance.
Oh, no.
There is a chance he did that, Leo.
Oh, no.
I think that could be, like, if you don't know that you have to search for pre-preparation of rights, that feels like an easy side out, honestly.
It also feels like a card that I wouldn't necessarily play in the deck anymore, because it's not that you, like, use it all the time, to be honest. It's like more of a backup follow-up thing.
Yep, that's true. Now we normal summon Molchami Fumalos, and now after putting both cards into the graveyard, Raul starts to question, what am I even going to link summon here, actually? That takes a while now.
I mean, that's an SP Little Knight if I've ever seen one, right?
At least that, for sure.
It's good that we attacked with the Druid Swarm before.
It is SP Little Knight, but honestly, Leo, I gotta tell you, I think I like the Druid Swarm more, because actually the Druid Swarm would have brought us close to ending the game next turn. Now the pre-preparation of rights gets activated, though.
Did it? Okay, there is the mirror. Why did it not resolve in the last turn? Did we ash it at some point? I mean, there's one more card in the... I don't know. Let's just continue.
Let's go from here. There is now the Ameno Habakiri. And that is huge, because now it gets it all snowballing, as you just explained.
Yeah, Aramasa is being used now to search for another monster. And as I told you before, I think I've seen the Mitsurugi Ritual in the hand of Bodhi. So I can see a Murakumo. Okay, we search for Saji. That works as well. Saji might get us prayers. Of course, we have the Habakiri in hand. So if you... And this plays heavily into Droll and Lockbird.
But it is not there.
If it's not there, it's not there. So you can search for the Murakumo now, for the prayers, and then activate prayers, discard Habakiri, and then you get rollin'. Even if you get Impulse, the Habakiri is going to be able to activate the effect.
Speaking of Impulse, that is why we can actually just commit into Droll and Lockbird, as they cannot legally activate that card anymore for the rest of this duel.
I thought about something like that.
Yeah. So it does make sense that we just don't care about that card, disregard it completely. That Impulse had to be activated from the hand on the prayers. It was really good at that very moment, but now it does get problematic maybe for Raul, as Bodhi finally found his mojo and may be able to execute nicely here with the prayers now. Hold on. Are we really tributing Visagi? I don't know about that.
I mean, then you're just getting like demolished by another impulse. That's like
True.
That's like the heaviest impulse I've ever seen in my life. Then, but what we have just activated the effect to summon back the Aramasa that has already used the effect, and now I mean, if we go King of the Feral Imps, we have to attack, right? I mean, okay, we get the Surge off either way, but we want to attack.
We go in defense position,
That's
though, Leo. I don't think that is signalizing any kind of attacking. And now, I mean, when it is in defense position, you don't even use VSP Little Knight anymore, do you?
No. I mean, why would you?
Yeah. Raul says, that's fine, cool.
I mean, now we search for the Murakumo. I mean, the thing is, we've searched the Saji already, so if we go Ritual here, are we going to...
Leo, maybe it is just his favorite card. We are searching for another Aramasa.
I am a bit confused about this, but I mean, Bodhi will have a plan here on how to operate through this. He's hovering over the Mitsurugi Ritual mirror that he has in hand, and there is not even a Ritual in the graveyard, so you would have to summon out the Habakiri from hand. Nothing would be able to trigger here. Now let's see if we are going to tribute. I think, I mean, the deck is so incredibly strong. If you just tribute the Habakiri from hand here and summon out the Murakumo from deck, it's still gonna be fine, but you're risking a big Ash Blossom here that you can't activate because... Oh, I think you can activate Ash Blossom with Under Impulse, right? Purge denied you the Ash Blossom.
Yes, exactly. That would work. That is why you play that Ash Blossom, and Raul does play it, of course, as we saw earlier.
If this gets ashed, then Bodhi found the way into... found a loose con here.
Oh, I think Raul's just thinking about whether to respond with SP Little Knight, though. Yeah. I think an Ash Blossom and Joy Spring would have been activated quicker here, but we are considering whether SP Little Knight is the way to go here. Yep, we do use SP Little Knight. Banish the King of the Feral Imps. Material goes into the graveyard. How do we resolve Ritual? We tribute the Amino Habakiri.
It is the right choice in this situation, because if you chain SP to the Amino Murakumo, you don't accomplish anything. You can target the Murakumo and get a little less damage, but you will have to discard a card as well, because Murakumo is just going to force you to discard to resolve the SP Little Knight effect. And now Habakiri can activate. Of course, it was not special summoned correctly so far, so it cannot special summon itself. However, the effect resolves as far as somehow possible, so you still get to search any Mitsurugi card.
Yep. That is indeed the case, and there... Oh, look at
that! Magatama.
In 50 cards, in more of a pure approach, you do have the chance to run those cards as well. Mitsurugi Magatama, another new card from Alliance Insight. And why do you love it so much, Leo? Tell us all about it.
Because it's so flexible. It reminds me kind of a Cosmic Cyclone, you know?
Oh, no. It is a quick spell, yeah,
It's a quick spell. You get to remove back row. I like it when you have at least some sort of back row removal, especially at a tournament like a WCQ Nationals.
For sure.
Because there is plenty of rogue decks involved historically already. So you definitely want to... Oh, wow, a Baldrake! Wow, that is so big.
It is incredible, because that Habakiri on the field is not too powerful. I mean, it's decently big in terms of attack points.
It's not even going to run... Oh, it is going to run over the Baldrake, because it shrinks the monsters of your opponent
but
by
truly was not the monster we tried to establish here, that's for sure.
That's true. However, the effect resolves as far as somehow possible, so you still get a search here, which is big. But back to the Magatama. I like this card because it can just remove some problematic cards for you. It deals with some problems. You have it in engine, so you can search it. It's not a bad draw. You can use it to OTK as well. So sometimes you're running out of useful search targets in the deck, and you're like approaching the battle phase, and then you can just go like, hey, I search for Magatama in the battle phase, I attack with 2 of my monsters, activate Magatama, pop a spell trap of yours, and then summon my monster back, attack from another 3/2, and win the game with that. So I really like this card. Also, it's a nice interruption to set up. It's not a bad hard draw. It's a card that is not a one-card starter, but not every card of yours can be a one-card starter.
Yeah, no, I do agree.
Dodging effects is also very, very cool.
And on the other end, oh, okay, we do immediately activate it. Mitsurugi Magatama.
I don't necessarily love this at this point, because we have used Habakiri already, right? So, oh, we're ritual summoning the Futsu.
All right, but Oh, we're using the other effect of Mitsurugi Magatama, actually. We did not use the effect to destroy.
Yeah.
Interesting.
We summoned out the Futsu, and I think that we could have done this in the next turn, so that Habakiri comes back as well. So there was no real use. I mean, you're not playing into Thrust. That's something, but I mean, if you're summoning out the Futsu, you're going to be.
And we found Malice in Underground. And the thing is, this is so huge for Raul. Bodhi, both times with the Artifact Lancea, decided to use it in the standby phase. Therefore, Raul did not have to commit the Malice in Underground. That might have been there in the hand since the beginning of the duel. He never had to activate it, and therefore we can now capitalize the moment we are free to play without Artifact Lancea resolving.
I will be honest with you. It probably was there the entire time.
Yeah.
This is very unfortunate here for Bodhi. It's going to summon back the Saji, so the deck is still generating an incredible amount of resources, but you're already down to 2,200 life points. So if you're going to access code at some point, there shouldn't be any interruptions for Bodhi anymore, because do you side in Nibiru going first? Nibiru also having hilarious interactions with the Mitsurugi deck. That's my favorite thing about the entire deck.
Okay. Futsu activates, and therefore, with it being not once per turn, it could bring back so many monsters over and over again. But when SP Little Knight immediately just banishes it temporarily until the end of a turn, that is not going to be the case for multiple activations.
A very smart choice, because we know at this point that Raul is not going to be short of interactions this turn with the Dormouse unanswered on the field. So you can just be like, hey, you know what, don't build up a bulwark of defenses here. I'm just going to leave you at 2 monsters here. You get your prayer surge. Go ahead and pray, because I am going to OTK. Triple tactic talents, nothing in hand. And this is the point where Raul knows, I got this.
Yep. We are just, because we have the time and the luxury, we are reading the Ogdoadic boss monster there. It's not going to do anything in the hand this turn, though. And therefore, Raul just learned something along the way while knowing, and now definitely going on his way to probably just win this game, this match here on this turn.
Still curious how the testing went for Bodhi when he has always searched the Mitsurugi. Imagine how good that would be. That would be absolutely incredible.
I would imagine it went pretty well then. I would definitely think so. But now Raul banishes the White Rabbit, brings it right back, of course, for the price of 300 life points. Now also sets the MTP. Something noteworthy. We earlier on talked about the absence of GWC. It is not absent at like in total, though, because we are siding that card.
Okay.
Yeah. Because I think when we know that we are going first, you still want to have a chance to play it. Oh, there's Dark now. The Dark Charmer. And of course, that Habakiri is a very big Dark monster we can take from our opponent's graveyard.
That is indeed true. By the way, has this ever happened to you, that you've been in a tournament and you prepare? Okay, and you prepared your deck, you know, and your combo. Now, Bodhi again revealing his hand here. And you realize on the tournament day that your main combo that you wanted to play doesn't work?
Never happened to me, no. I think I had one time where I had a combo which I just on the tournament day realized that it's not great, but it still would work. That was one of my very first tournaments where I tried to summon Cyber End Dragon with Proto-Cyber Dragons. And for some reason, at the beginning, I thought I could do it with Future Fusion.
Oh, yeah.
I couldn't, though. Clearly, I couldn't.
I mean, that it seems likely. For me, it was Harpies when I played a Pharaoh tour.
Okay.
And I played 9 Harpies.
Oh.
I played Harpy 1, Harpy 2, Harpy 3, and I just didn't know.
Yeah, you got to know them pretty quickly, though, I'm pretty sure. On the other, you probably, like, you didn't win the tournament or anything, right?
No.
When did they notice?
Decklist check.
Yeah, but when was it? Oh, in the very beginning, right away.
Of course, it was a decklist check, and I had a very illegal decklist at that point. Keep in mind, I was I think 8 years old, so I got to change some cards.
Yeah, glad we get to avoid that nowadays with you being my casting buddy here, so you don't have to face those issues anymore. But Raul not facing any issues here whatsoever, either going into a smooth Link Force summon here, I would imagine. Is that access code talker? Ended game 1. Oh no, we go Splash Mage here instead.
Well, we want to summon some more monsters before we go into Access Code Talker.
Probably just trying to have different attributes, right? Because so far we only had the dark attribute in the graveyard. Now there, of course, also is a water with the Splash Mage, so we have 2 attributes to banish for the Access Code Talker to do it.
I think at this point Raul is just showing off.
I mean, enjoy the spotlight.
Yeah, true. Yeah, when you have the chance, just banishing all of those Mitsurugi cards from the graveyard, just diminishing the resources here, and now
Leo,
we just up. Yep.
Even though it doesn't really matter that much here for this specific duel, I think that is going to be one of the main things in this tournament overall, that people need to figure out what to banish and when to banish with White Binder against the Mitsurugi deck, because that is going to be one of the main matchups we're going to see all weekend long. Malice versus Mitsurugi. Here the clear winner is Raul and the Malice deck.